The sky of Violia burned with strange colors, shades of violet and gold mingling in a way that made the horizon seem alive. The planet had always been wild, untamed, and beautiful in a way that humans rarely saw. Elias, a human explorer far from Earth, walked carefully over jagged crystal terrain, his boots crunching on the glittering surface. His heart beat faster than usual, not from fear, but from the sense that something powerful and unknown waited nearby. He had been sent on a mission to study Violia's energy cores, but what he found was far beyond science. Smoke rose from a distant valley, twisted and black against the radiant sky. He could hear faint echoes of struggle, shouts, metal clashing, and the low hum of something alien. Something intelligent. As he approached, he saw them. A group of rogue warlords, creatures of sharp edges and dark armor, surrounded a figure kneeling on the ground. Even from a distance, Elias could tell she was not like any being he had seen before. Her skin shimmered faintly like liquid moonlight, and her hair floated as if underwater. Her eyes, enormous and violet, reflected pain and pride in equal measure. Without fully thinking, Elias ran toward them. His human instincts demanded he help, even though he was far from home, far from backup, and far from safety. He drew his energy blade, a sleek human invention, and slashed at the nearest warlord. The alien weapon's sparks met his blade, and a bright flash forced him to duck behind a crystal outcropping. The figure, she looked at him, her gaze sharp and unreadable. A faint hum of power rolled from her, as if the planet itself acknowledged her presence. Elias realized he was staring not just at a wounded stranger, but at a queen. "You shouldn't be here," she said in a voice that was both soft and commanding. I can't leave you," Elias replied, panting. "I have to help." Each movement carried desperation and courage. Somehow he reached her side, grabbing her hand. Her skin was cooler than he expected, but soft, almost alive with energy. "You are human," she whispered, a mix of curiosity and disbelief in her tone. "No one else dares. Perhaps bravery is the same as foolishness here, but I will accept it." She was not human, not like anyone he had ever known, yet there was a pull, magnetic and profound, drawing him closer. She fought beside him, not just defenseless, but powerful even in her weakened state. He realized that saving her was not just a physical act. It was stepping into a world he could barely understand. Finally, they reached a hidden valley, a small oasis surrounded by massive crystal formations. The warlords did not follow. Some instinct in them, or in the planet itself, warned them away. Elias sank to the ground, breathing heavily, and watched as the alien queen knelt beside a crystal pool. "I am Lyra," she said softly, almost like a song. "And you saved me." What do you mean?" The air around her seemed charged, thick with power. "Demand what?" The idea seemed impossible, yet her gaze left no room for doubt. She meant it. I don't understand," he admitted. "You will," she said. Her hand touched his shoulder, and a pulse of energy ran through him, not pain, but recognition. "Fate moves in ways you cannot yet see. You saved me, and for that, we are bound, not by choice, but by consequence." But something in him, the instinct, the respect, the strange attraction, kept him rooted. The air around Lyra hummed with life, magic, and power. He realized that he had stepped into a story far larger than himself, a story where the rules of humanity no longer applied. For hours, they rested in the valley, hidden from enemies and the harsh light of Violia's twin suns. Elias watched Lyra tend to her wounds, her movements both alien and elegant. She was a queen, yes, but also fragile in ways she did not show. He wondered what it would mean to truly belong to her, and if he even could. She spoke little, but when she did, her words carried weight. "I have ruled planets, I have commanded fleets, yet I am weakest here by your side. There is power in saving a life." "Do you feel it?" Elias felt both small and significant, as if the entire universe had shrunk to this single moment. As he drifted into an uneasy sleep, he thought of the prophecy he had read in the mission briefing, a fragment that now seemed clear. One human will alter the course of the alien queen's fate, and the bond will decide the fate of worlds. Her eyes were brighter now, almost fiery. She rose, her figure radiant even in the dim light. "You will not leave," she said, more statement than question. I don't know if I can do what you ask," he admitted. "I'm human, I don't even understand your world. Everything else, we will learn together." As the sun rose over the jagged horizon, casting violet light across the crystals, Elias realized the truth. His life had changed forever, and he did not know whether to fear it or embrace it. Lyra stepped closer, her presence overwhelming yet comforting. "Remember," she whispered, You have saved me, and now you belong to me. He had survived battles, storms, and the unknowns of a strange planet, but the words struck deeper than any weapon could. Belong to her. He looked into her eyes and felt the stirrings of something dangerous and beautiful, a connection that defied reason, a bond neither could escape. And as he watched her turn toward the distant mountains, radiant and unyielding, he knew one thing with certainty. Their story had only just begun. The world around them waited, vast, untamed, and perilous. And so did she. The hidden valley was quiet, yet the air thrummed with unseen energy. Crystals sprouted from the ground like jagged trees, reflecting the twin suns of Violia in a kaleidoscope of light. Elias watched Lyra as she moved among them, her presence commanding even the wind itself. She was unlike anything he had ever encountered, majestic, alien, yet touched with vulnerability that made her almost human. You must rest, Elias said, breaking the silence as he offered her water from his pack. You've been through so much, you need to recover. The touch sent a shiver down his spine, a feeling that was unfamiliar and intense. Elias wanted to ask about the bond she mentioned, the connection that now tied their fates together. But something in her gaze warned him. Patience would be necessary. Lyra, the law you mentioned, the one about the humans saving the queen, what does it mean exactly? And because of this, I have the right to demand your heart and your hand in marriage. Lyra stepped closer, the energy around her intensifying. Understanding is not required, only acceptance. To save me was to take a step into the unknown. And now, your choice is not truly yours, not yet at least. But you will come to see that fate favors those who embrace it. She was not threatening, yet her presence demanded obedience. She was not human, yet he felt the pull of her words in his very chest. He looked away, trying to gather his thoughts. I'm not ready for something like this. I don't even know you. See who I am, not as a ruler, not as a queen, but as someone who needs you. You have saved my life. Now you must understand what it means to be bound to me. Could he ever truly love someone so different from him? Could she ever understand the fragility of human emotion? Finally, Lyra broke the silence. There is much you do not know about Violia, human. The laws, the customs, the duties of a queen, they are not like yours. My people are bound by rules older than the stars. To save me is to step into those rules, willingly or not. Bravery is uncommon among your kind, and yet it is not enough. You must also see the depth of consequence. The bond between us, it is not mere words, it is the weaving of fate itself. And now that you have chosen to save me, your path is linked with mine. Whether you understand it or not, human, you cannot undo what has begun. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of crimson and gold, Lyra moved closer. Her gaze softened, and she spoke more quietly. You must know this, my feelings are not just of duty or law. There is something more, something I have not felt in a long time. Perhaps it is trust. Perhaps it is something closer to what your kind calls affection. The weight of her words pressed on him, yet there was a warmth in them, a hope that he could not ignore. Affection for me? He asked, his voice trembling. Yes, she said, almost whispering. But it is not yet love. That comes with time and with choice. For now, you are bound by what has happened, and by what we must face together. Lyra's hand brushed his again, and this time he did not pull away. There will be trials, she said, her voice serious now. Enemies who seek to reclaim what I have or destroy what I am. And you must stand by my side, not as a visitor, not as a helper, but as someone bound to me, someone who shares in my fate. He did not fully understand, but he felt the truth of her words. The world had shifted beneath his feet, and there was no turning back. I will stand by you, he said firmly, even if I don't understand it all. And perhaps we will see what this bond truly means together. The real journey was just starting, the journey of understanding, trust, and perhaps love. As he drifted into a restless sleep, he dreamt of the twin suns of Violia, of glowing cities floating in the sky, and of a voice calling his name in the wind. It was Lyra's voice, soft and commanding at once. You have saved me, and now you belong to me. Learn about each other, about Violia, about what it means to be bound. You are human, and I am queen. Our worlds are different, but our fates are now intertwined. You will see soon enough that there is no turning back. And perhaps something more. Lyra extended her hand, and Elias took it, feeling the pulse of energy flow between them once more. It was not frightening now. It was a promise, a connection that neither could deny. Come, she said, her eyes glowing with determination. We must leave this valley. There are others who will not forgive your interference. We have enemies who will pursue us, and we must prepare. But know this. Not the battles, not the unknown creatures, not even the harsh elements. This bond, this connection to Lyra, was something far greater, something that could change him and perhaps the world itself. And as they walked together toward the unknown, the crystal valley fading behind them, Elias realized one undeniable truth. He could not escape her power, or the bond that now tied them together. The story of the human and the alien queen was only beginning, and it would not be simple, easy, or safe. But it would be unforgettable. The horizon of Violia stretched wide, jagged mountains piercing the violet sky, casting long shadows across the crystal plains. Elias and Lyra moved swiftly, their steps careful but determined. The shadow of the approaching army lingered behind them, a reminder that their journey was far from safe. But the real danger, Elias realized, was not only the enemies outside. It was the unknown within, the storm of emotions and connection that bound him to the alien queen. Lyra's presence beside him was both calming and intense. Each movement she made seemed to shape the air, bending light around her, making the crystals shimmer as if acknowledging her power. Yet she walked with care, mindful of his pace. Elias couldn't help but notice the contrast. She was regal, commanding, almost untouchable, yet she leaned into him when the terrain became rough, her touch light but grounding. "Elias," she said, her voice soft but carrying the weight of authority, "we must enter the crystal forest soon. It is a place that tests those who walk within it. Your mind, your heart, all will be revealed. Fear, doubt, desire, all are made visible. You will face not only creatures that dwell there, but also the truths you hide from yourself. Only by facing them can we continue. I'll face whatever comes with you." Massive crystals towered like trees, their surfaces reflecting light in every direction. The air hummed with energy, and the faint sound of whispers seemed to come from the very earth. Elias felt a shiver run down his spine. It was beautiful but strange and slightly unnerving. As they stepped into the forest, the path shifted beneath their feet. Light danced around them and shadows twisted unnaturally. The forest seemed to recognize their bond, reacting to it. Elias felt his heartbeat echo in the air, and he realized this place could sense his emotions. Suddenly, a vision appeared before him. He saw himself back on Earth, alone in a dark room, facing loss and failure. His parents, friends, and past mistakes surrounded him, their voices accusing, their eyes filled with disappointment. Panic surged in his chest, but he focused on Lyra. She reached for his hand, grounding him. "You are stronger than this," she whispered. "Do not let the forest control you. Trust yourself and me." The vision flickered and vanished, replaced by a new one showing Lyra vulnerable and alone, surrounded by enemies he could not see clearly. She looked terrified, and Elias' chest ached. Without thinking, he moved toward the vision, shouting, "I won't let them hurt you." Lyra smiled faintly, a mixture of pride and relief in her eyes. "You are learning," she said. "Trust is not easy, human. Fear is natural, but together we are stronger." Lyra saw her own fears, her loneliness, her need for control, and the possibility that she might fall in love with a human, something her kind rarely allowed. At one point, they reached a crystal clearing where the light was blinding, refracted into every color of the spectrum. In the center floated a shimmering figure, neither threatening nor friendly, but demanding attention. It spoke without words, communicating directly into their minds. "Only those who trust completely may pass," the voice said. "Only those who face their hearts may continue. Look into my eyes, human, see me. Trust that we are linked, that is the beginning." The figure in the center of the clearing shimmered and then vanished. A pathway opened, lined with crystal pillars glowing faintly in response to their emotions. Elias realized that they had passed the test, not by strength alone, but by trust, by willingness to face the unknown together. They moved deeper into the forest, each step bringing them closer and yet revealing more challenges. Shadowy creatures emerged from the crystal shadows, not to harm but to test their cooperation. They were reflections of fear itself, manifestations of doubt, mistrust, and past regrets. Elias fought alongside Lyra, not with weapons, but with their combined will. His human intuition and her alien power complemented each other, creating a rhythm neither could achieve alone. They moved as one, their bond strengthening with each challenge. At the heart of the forest, they found a crystalline pool, its surface perfectly still. Lyra knelt beside it, her reflection shimmering alongside Elias'. "Look," she said softly, "this is the truth of the forest. It reflects not only what we are but what we could become. See yourself and see me." See what we could be together. From the shadows, a figure emerged, an alien warrior, taller and more menacing than any they had faced. Its armor glinted with the colors of the forest, and its eyes burned with a cold intelligence. Lyra's expression hardened. "This is a test of courage as well as trust," she said. "We must face it together. Only together can we overcome what stands before us." The warrior paused as if recognizing the strength of their bond, and then slowly it bowed its head and dissipated into light. Lyra exhaled softly, relief and admiration in her eyes. "You have done well," she said. "The forest has tested us and we have passed, not by might alone, but by heart, by trust, by connection." The fear and uncertainty of the past hours seemed distant now. He looked at Lyra, her presence radiant, and felt a surge of something he could not name, hope, courage, and the first stirrings of love. But even as relief settled over them, a sense of unease lingered. The forest had shown them not only their strengths, but also their vulnerabilities. The bond between them had grown, yes, but so had the awareness of the challenges ahead. Enemies awaited outside the forest, and the path before them was fraught with danger. Lyra stood, her figure glowing in the dim light of the crystals. "The forest has taught us much," she said, "but the journey is far from over. Our enemies will not wait, and neither can we. There is a prophecy, Elias. One that speaks of a human and a queen bound by fate. We have taken the first step, but the road ahead is long and perilous. You must also offer your heart willingly. Only then can we truly face what is coming." And as they looked toward the horizon, where the mountains of Violia loomed like silent guardians, they both knew one truth. The tests of the forest were only the beginning. The real challenge, the challenge of fate, love, and survival, awaited them beyond the shadows. The floating fortress loomed ahead like a jagged shard of darkness against the twin suns. Its massive walls were black as night, reflecting little light, yet the energy radiating from it made the air vibrate faintly. Lyra's violet eyes narrowed, her expression a mixture of determination and calculation. Elias stood beside her, his hand brushing against hers. The bond they had forged in the crystal forest pulsed between them, steady and reassuring, yet he could feel the weight of what awaited them pressing on his chest. "We have little time," Lyra said, her voice steady but low. "The fortress is controlled by those who once tried to enslave my people. They will not stop until they have taken me, or destroyed everything I hold dear." "Then we prepare," he said. "Tell me what to do." "Every decision will have consequences. The bond between us will be tested, not just by enemies but by ourselves." He wanted to reach out to reassure her, yet he feared that he might break the fragile balance of her composure. "Lyra," he said gently, "you don't have to carry this alone. We face it together. And you, human, are untested in this world of shadows. I fear what might happen if the weight proves too much. But courage alone will not be enough. The court does not easily forgive," Lyra said softly. "And your presence complicates matters. You must be prepared for judgment, not from enemies alone, but from those who once followed me unquestioningly." His connection to Lyra demanded he stay, demanded he prove his worth not only in strength, but in loyalty, trust, and heart. Inside the fortress, the halls were cold and vast, illuminated by glowing panels embedded in the black walls. Lyra led Elias to a council chamber where advisors, generals, and nobles awaited. Their eyes scanned him with suspicion, curiosity, and in some cases, disdain. "Your Majesty," one elder began, voice steady but cold, "we understand the danger, yet we question your decision. To accept a human into our midst, into your trust, it defies tradition. If you cannot understand this, then you do not understand the future of Violia. The court may resist, but the enemies outside will not wait for us to debate. You must be ready, Elias. Your courage will be tested again, but this time, it will be as much within as without. But I will try because I trust you." "What is it?" Lyra reached for his hand and their fingers intertwined. The pulse of energy between them strengthened, almost visible in the air. "Good," she said. "Then we prepare. The enemies outside the gates will arrive soon, and we must be ready in mind, heart, and strength." The vast walls of the fortress seemed to echo with whispers, visions of battles, political intrigue, and the unyielding expectations of Lyra's court. He lay awake, thinking of the bond he had with her. It was more than duty or law now. It was a connection that pulsed in his chest, undeniable and urgent. Lyra entered quietly, her presence a calming force. She knelt beside him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You think too much," she said softly. Fear and doubt are natural, but remember this, our bond is stronger than any shadow outside these walls. But by choice and by consequence, trust in that and you will survive what is to come. The bond between them grew stronger with every shared glance, every whispered instruction, every moment of mutual understanding. Yet tension remained. Some in the court still whispered doubts, questioning a human's worth beside a queen. Others plotted quietly, wary of the human who had entered their sacred hierarchy. Elias felt their judgment, but he did not falter. His connection to Lyra gave him courage beyond his human limits, a strength that could not be measured by muscle or skill alone. As evening fell, a scout returned, breathless. "Your Majesty," he said, bowing. "The enemy approaches. They come in numbers and they bring creatures we have not seen before. They know you have a human with you. They will test both of you." He felt the pulse of their bond, steady and strong, and for the first time he realized the truth. This was more than battle. This was a test of trust, courage, and heart, and together they could face it. The first night of the attack came quietly, with no warning except the distant rumble of energy and the shimmer of dark shapes approaching. From the walls of the fortress, Elias and Lyra watched, side by side, as the enemies drew near. His hand found hers instinctively, their fingers entwined. The pulse between them strengthened, a tether of hope and determination. Lyra's violet eyes glimmered with intensity. "Elias, remember, courage alone is not enough. You must trust fully with heart as well as mind. Only then will we survive." From the walls of the fortress, Elias and Lyra watched as the enemy forces approached, shadowy figures twisting in the distance. Winged creatures circled above, their forms unnatural and foreboding. The air hummed with energy, both from the fortress wards and the gathering foes. Lyra stood at the forefront, regal and unwavering, her violet eyes sharp and alert. Elias moved beside her, feeling the pulse of their bond strengthening with each heartbeat. He had faced impossible tests, illusions of fear, and the scrutiny of a queen's court, but nothing compared to this moment. The enemies were real, powerful, and merciless, yet he felt something stronger than fear: connection. The bond with Lyra, forged through trust, courage, and shared trials, gave him strength beyond his human limits. "We face them together," Lyra said quietly but with authority. Her hand brushed against his, and the familiar warmth pulsed between them. "Remember, Elias, courage alone is not enough. Trust in our bond, and you will survive." The winged creatures swooped down, their shadows flickering over the crystal battlements. The soldiers of Violia, trained and vigilant, met them with energy weapons and spells, but it quickly became clear that raw power alone would not win this fight. Elias and Lyra moved through the defenses, side by side. He drew his human energy blade, its hum cutting through the tense air, while Lyra radiated a faint aura of violet light that pushed back shadows and inspired the soldiers around her. "Elias," Lyra whispered, her voice steady but intense. "You must move with me, not just in battle, but in heart. Feel the rhythm of the fight. Trust me and I will guide you." It allowed them to anticipate each other, move as one, and face dangers neither could confront alone. The enemy pressed harder, strange creatures emerging from the shadows, beasts that shimmered with dark energy, their movements unnatural and threatening. Elias felt a twinge of fear, but Lyra's presence steadied him. Her hand on his shoulder, even briefly, reminded him that they were connected, that courage and trust were stronger than fear. They reached a courtyard where the largest of the winged creatures had landed, its size dwarfing even the tallest soldiers. Its eyes glowed like molten gold, and a low roar echoed across the fortress walls. Lyra stepped forward, her aura intensifying, and Elias followed instinctively. "Stay close," she said softly. "Do not let fear divide us. Trust in me, trust in us." Lyra's violet light enveloped them both, creating a shield that pushed back the creature's attacks. Elias found openings to strike, each movement guided by the invisible thread connecting him to her. As the battle reached its climax, Lyra's energy flared brighter than ever. She extended her hand, and a wave of violet light surged outward, disorienting the winged creatures and enemy soldiers alike. Elias followed her lead, channeling his human energy through her guidance, amplifying the effect. The enemies faltered, and a sense of hope swept through the fortress, but victory was not yet complete. A shadow moved at the edge of the battlefield, a figure taller than any warrior, radiating raw power and malice. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "The commander," she whispered. "He comes for me and for you." The air shimmered with energy, and Elias realized that this battle was not just of strength, but of heart. Every strike, every movement, every decision reflected the trust and connection between them. The commander was powerful, but he could not break what had been forged in the crystal forest, tested in court, and strengthened in battle. As they fought, Lyra's energy intertwined with Elia's. He felt her thoughts, her intentions, her trust, and her care. And in turn, she felt his courage, his loyalty, and his willingness to stand by her no matter the cost. The connection was not merely survival. It was love, unspoken but undeniable, woven into every action. With a final surge of energy, Lyra extended her hand toward the commander, and Elia's mirrored her movement. Together, they unleashed a pulse of light that shattered the darkness, disorienting the enemy and forcing the commander to retreat. The remaining forces faltered, retreating into the shadows from which they had come. The fortress fell silent, save for the crackling of residual energy and the labored breathing of soldiers. Elias and Lyra stood together, hands still intertwined, their eyes meeting in understanding. They had faced impossible odds and survived not by strength alone, but by trust, courage, and the bond they shared. Lyra's voice was soft, almost vulnerable. Elias, you have done more than survive. You have proven your heart, your courage, and your loyalty. And now you have my trust completely. You have given me something I thought I had lost forever, hope, and perhaps more. Not because I must, but because I want to. My heart is yours. Soldiers looked on with renewed respect, seeing not just a human and an alien queen, but a partnership stronger than any weapon or law. Lyra turned to Elias, her expression both tender and regal. The court may still resist, the enemies may return, but we have faced the storm. Together we are stronger than anything the world can throw at us. Then let them come, we face it together no matter what. And as the twin suns rose fully, casting their violet gold light across the fortress and plains, Elias and Lyra stood together, bound not by law or fate alone, but by choice, courage, and the undeniable power of their hearts. Epilogue. Lyra's court, once skeptical of a human standing beside their queen, now looked upon Elias with respect and admiration. The bond between them, proven in battle and tested in heart, had become a symbol of hope, trust, and unity across worlds. Elias and Lyra spent their days learning from one another, sharing stories of Earth and Violia, laughter, and quiet moments of connection. Their bond continued to grow, not out of obligation, but out of choice, love, and mutual respect. One evening, as the twin suns set and painted the sky in shades of violet and gold, Lyra turned to Elias, her hand resting gently in his. "You have given me your heart," she said softly, "and I give you mine, not because I must, but because I choose to. And I will spend every day proving that I deserve it, Lyra, not as your protector alone, but as your partner, your equal, your love." The human who saved the alien queen had not only survived, he had transformed destiny itself, creating a bond that would endure through trials, storms, and the unknown. And together, hand in hand, heart to heart, they faced the horizon, ready for whatever the universe would bring next.